Hello and welcome to the PCM Tech Help Show. I'm your host, Craig Chamberlain. It's March 20th, 2013, and you are watching PCM Tech Talk Live. That's right, PCM Tech Talk Live, where we talk tech live all over the world. That's right. If you join in at the conversation at PCM Tech Talk Live, well, at the website, pcmtechhelp.com/live, it'll bring you to the chat room, which it looks like people have already joined in and are looking at the live broadcast as we speak. And the live broadcast will be going on for the next hour, from 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Thursday, every weekday. Now, I am going to be going on vacation next week, so we got to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on that. But we'll see how I'm going to cope with that. I'm thinking about doing something interesting with my phone, because my phone does support live streaming. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet. Haven't committed to anything, but I am going on vacation next week. I will be out of town. But Monday through Thursday, typically 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern is what we talk about. Today we're going to talk about a lot of things. We have this awesome Bose headset I just bought. It's the Bose headset Series 2. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I got it in my ear as we speak. Very fancy device. It's pretty much one of the premium options out there for headsets as far as Bluetooth headsets are concerned. We're going to talk about WordPress, of course. WordPress is always a good thing. We like WordPress. WordPress basics today. We're actually going to start using that installation we did in yesterday's episode. And we're going to talk about the news, which is the first thing on topic today. Lots of things to talk about, and I'm pretty excited about tonight's show. Actually, I did some prep work for tonight's show, and I was sitting here thinking, man, this is awesome. This is fun. I never thought that I'd get to sit here and talk with you wonderful people about tech and just figure things out. Of course, at the end of all this, we get to open up the floor to you guys, and you can ask any questions you want. They can be on topic, off topic. As long as they're tech related, totally fine with that. And remember, outside of the show, go to pcmtechhelp.com/community. That's where all of us hang out. It's the after party, essentially. It's the tech show after party. It's where all the cool tech guys hang out, and the not cool, and the disenfranchised, and the geeks, and the nerds, and the not-so-geek nerds that want to become geek nerds, and the ones who are just confused because they have problems. That's where they all hang out. It's the after-party PCM Tech Help community. I have the best community on the interwebs. If you don't believe me, just check it out. They got awesome stuff going on over there. You guys are hilarious. I love you guys. I'm watching your chat right here. Very cool. Very cool watching you guys. I'm opening this story tonight with Xbox. The next Xbox, there's a rumor. The rumors are churning for the new upcoming systems. And this rumor, I actually kind of believe, okay? This rumor is that the new Xbox that's coming out, which is codenamed Durango, which I think they'll call it the 720. There's no official announcement yet. But it won't support optical drive game playback. What this means is you'll be putting the disc in the drive. This is the rumor. You'll put the physical disc in the drive. It'll be a Blu-ray drive, and it will install the game on your system, and you will not need the disc anymore. Now, what I'm thinking is they're going to move into a login-based system, much like Steam, where you actually have to be access to their servers or on the internet for it to work. That'll scare a lot of people, but that's where a lot of these people are going to, because there's just too much money in this online verification thing. They can check your licenses, people. Do you blame them? Too much pirating going on, too much hurting of the bottom line. I'm not saying that I fully support being online to play a single-player game, but that's why they're moving in that direction. There's just too much money in this. They can track what you're doing, what games you're playing, how long you play them for, then they can sell that information to the producers of the games and keep making games that you guys play. So there are some good things to it, too. So this rumor is essentially every Durango console will have a hard drive, although its exact capacity has not been chosen. The company wrote in the documentation, it will be large enough, however, to hold a large number of games. All games will be installed on the hard drive. Play from the optical disc will not be supported. So what they're trying to do, if this rumor turns out to be true, and I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on this, you can post them in the chat, or you can post them at the actual community page. You actually won't be able to play games off of the discs anymore, and I think they're doing it to migrate people away from the idea of physical media. Because right now, as you can see, with the music industry and the movie industry, pretty much any industry that has digital options available. They want to get you on the digital platform. Now, it's obviously too much for them to make you swallow this all at once. So it actually makes sense for them to decide, oh, you know what, we'll just get them off of the idea of needing the discs. And then when we start selling them digital copies later, the downloadable versions, and they start seeing that they can buy pre-releases and they'll have to download it to their console anyway, then they're going to actually kind of create a selling point for these video game systems that I think will exist. Because people once said, I'll never watch a movie or pay for a floating license for a movie. I'll never pay for a floating license for music. And lo and behold, we've got Apple TV, we've got Netflix, we've got all of these services now where we can actually buy copies of our music as digital licenses, and we love it. We do. I love it, personally. I think it's a great addition to the platform, in my opinion. I think it'll work out great, especially with all the compression utilities getting better, all the HD stuff getting better. It's going to become natural. Internet bandwidths are getting larger, games are getting, and you know what, on top of that, let's move away from this just for a second. Let's say, yeah, okay, it's frustrating, okay, we have to have the game on the console now, right, okay, but let's just say for a second, the games run better off a hard drive. So rather than needing to rev up a disk and read off of a disk, the games actually perform better because there's better data transfer rates on a physical hard drive than there are on a disk drive. So there's just a lot of benefits to it as well, even from a gamer perspective. Something to think about. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about that. So apparently Google made a big oopsie today. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the news. Dig.com disappeared completely from the Google search results. And this would be terrifying for me if I was a big major franchise, but they were all cool with it. Dig was like, yeah, it's all good. We're cool. So apparently for about half of a day, maybe longer, if you typed anything related to Dig into a Google search, they got blacklisted. And what ended up happening is Google later on today came out and announced, oops, we accidentally adjusted a filter that actually completely kicked Dig out of the search engine and are bad. That's basically what Google said. See, this is kind of funny that Google can get, how many people got inadvertently, maybe because it was Dig, how many people got inadvertently looked over that got kind of this backlash? It couldn't have just been Dig. It's like if they were rewriting this algorithm, I bet a lot of people were booted off of the network. Dig was just the only one that people noticed. And so this is actually kind of a scary thought that suddenly you disappear from Google search results. So of course Dig was like, nah, we're good because only 90% of our traffic is direct, which means people just type in dig.com. Dig is a pretty cool site actually. But they said 10% of it comes from Google. That's it. It's only 10% of our advertising revenue. It's all good. We'll get it straightened out. So they weren't sweating over it apparently, but they did get it taken care of. So you can Google Dig now and they'll show up. So I thought that was kind of funny. Google makes mistakes too, in case you guys were paying attention. And we talked a lot about Samsung Galaxy being awesome yesterday. Samsung Galaxy S4 coming out. But it turns out that there's actually a security hole in the lock screen of this Android phone. It's for the Samsung Galaxy S3 and the Samsung Galaxy Note 2. This hole is apparently so gaping that it would require a complete ROM flash to fix. So for those of you who have a Galaxy Note or a Galaxy S3, just at least be aware of it. But apparently this flaw exists between when you unlock your screen or your screen goes into standby and it goes into lock mode. There's an actual window of opportunity for hackers to bounce in there and launch an application internally. Now, how these hackers come up with these clever ideas and clever schemes is always a wonder to me. I always enjoy it because they are the most clever group of people I have ever seen. If, truth be told, if their energies were probably focused elsewhere, we'd probably have solved, world hunger, world peace, whatever. But it wouldn't be nearly as fun to watch. It wouldn't be nearly as entertaining to us to see things like this. So be aware that this flaw is out there. It has not yet been patched, but there's not a whole lot you can do about it, except for the fact that you're probably not going to be affected by it unless you have a lot of sensitive information on your Galaxy S3 or Galaxy Note. And if that's the case, just make sure you take extra precautions to make sure you're not handing your phone to some random guy in the street who looks like a hacker. Which, you know, hackers. They all wear those really big glasses in the stereotypes where they wear hoods and the big sunglasses. That's just how they all look, right? That's how every single one of them looks. Some of them wear white hats. The other ones wear black hats, from what I'm told. It's something similar to this. It's similar to how the whole thing works out. Something about gray hats, black hats, white hats. I'm being sarcastic, people. I know how this actually works. I'm just being facetious. That's the word we use. And the last story I'm going to talk about today is the 4K TV. Samsung finally announced the official 4K television is going to be released this month. I think it's already out. I think it's already hitting the stores. For those of you who don't know what 4K is, it's the next resolution above Blu-ray. It is approximately 4 times better, pixel-wise, 4 times larger wide and 4 times larger tall. I think it's 4,000 by 2,000 or 8,000 by 4,000 or something crazy. Absolutely insane. I don't have the exact resolution in front of me, but it's basically it's an 8 megapixel video feed, whereas your Blu-ray 1920 by 1080 is a 2 megapixel. So 4 times better, okay? Now this is really only beneficial for screens above 55 inches because the human eye at 55 inches and lower can't see much better than Blu-ray. Well, can't really see better than Blu-ray. Essentially, Blu-ray is retina display for televisions up to 50 inches because it's pretty much as good as the human eye can see. So when you look at things like this and it says 4K, 4K is really for the larger screens. It's exciting for like movie theaters. It's exciting for like huge theater systems where you're going to have a massive screen somewhere. But for us everyday consumers who can't possibly afford that, it's pretty much useless. But I guess it's not useless because if they're out there buying their huge TVs, our smaller TVs get cheaper. But anyways, this is a 85-inch 4K ultra high definition television. It uses the HUD technology, the HUD technology. It's a LED, $40,000. I'll take 2. So this is about the time I announced that I want to launch a Kickstarter for the PCM Tech Help Show in which I raised $40,000 to do an unboxing of the Samsung 4K TV live in front of a live worldwide non-studio audience. That's what I want to do. Kickstarter project. You can donate at the website, pcmtechhelp.com, bottom right-hand corner. Donate to the general fund. I'm serious, there is actually a general fund there. I'm not kidding. It's actually there. But if I get $40,000 before the end of the year, I will do an official unboxing of the Samsung 4K TV. Talk amongst yourselves. Go find your investor buddies. Go talk to a rich uncle. We got to make this happen, people. It's very important. Okay, the next part of the video, or the show tonight, we're going to talk about this awesome Bluetooth headset that I purchased because my old one broke. Okay, and I'm going to be looking over there at my screen so I can make sure I can see what you guys are seeing. See it? See it? Let's see here. See? Awesome. Okay. This is the Series 2, headset Series 2 Bose Bluetooth headset. Now, this isn't cheap, okay? And I'm usually not a big splurger, but after I had my HX550 from Motorola, awesome headset. It was $50. Actually, I have it upstairs, but it broke, okay? It had a little hinge on it. I had it for 3 months, and honestly, I used this thing to death. And I eventually, obviously, ended up killing it. So I literally used it to death. So it's dead now. And so after it broke, I was like, okay, well, I got to get a headset without a hinge, and I've got to make sure that it's good. And the thing about Bluetooth headsets is most of them like kind of suck. So I did a lot of research, did a lot of reviews, and this bad boy popped up at 4.5 out of 5 stars on Amazon with 400 reviews. And I'm like, a Bluetooth headset? That's impossible. Having 4.5 out of 5 stars out of 400 reviews. So I started reading up about it, and in fact, it was really quite compelling. So I had to buy it. It was like one of those things like, I have to buy it to try it. I cannot believe, because I'm going to use it to death, right? I want something good. So this is it, essentially. You get the box, you get the headset, you get a couple of these earpieces, you get like 3 different sizes. The basic one's kind of awesome how well it fits. And it's just this little ear thing, right? You just slide it right in your ear, and it locks right in, like that. It's quite amazing how well that works. On the bottom side of this, we have the power switch, which I can turn it off and on. On the rear side, I have battery life. I don't know if you guys can even see this. Can you guys even see this? Probably focusing on me more than it is the device. So we'll go right here. You got a little battery life icon and also a Bluetooth icon. There it is. It's flashing. See, it's flashing because it's going out there and it just connected to my phone that's in my pocket. So it's actually connected. Then the battery is green, which is kind of cool. 2 little LEDs on the inside there. And if I go to the top here, I have my phone button, which will let me do call waiting, it'll let me do conference calling, it'll let me put people on hold, it'll let me ignore calls, all those awesome features with Bluetooth. Then you got a volume control right here as well, which is pretty awesome. And you got Bose, because they're like, I'm Bose, I am audio awesomeness. That's how they are over there at Bose. But to be honest with you, the audio it's night and day. Audio-wise, I can actually listen to music in this headset, and it actually sounds like music. It's got bass, which is weird. Usually these headsets have no bass in them whatsoever. But you have essentially in the box, this is the right headset. Now you have to choose an ear when you buy this headset. It's designed, ergonomically designed for a specific ear. So there's a right and a left ear version of this headset. It comes with, like I said, 3 different little earpieces that you can use. Come on, focus on that one. It's got your USB charger and cable. It's got, that's your charger base there actually. It's got a separate USB cable to connect it to your computer. And then you've got, what's that at the bottom? I can't even see that. It's a carrying case, a nice little carrying case. Why don't I just open it up and show it to you rather than talk about it. There's the carrying case. I actually left the charger at work today. The carrying case. It's like a little man purse. Oh, it's like a little man purse. Like a little man purse. I want to be carrying this everywhere I go. Be like, what's up, guys? That is the Bose Bluetooth headset. Overall, I have to say I'm quite impressed. I ordered it through Amazon Prime. We've talked about that previously on the show today. Amazon Prime is great because you pay $70 a year, and I got next day air shipping for $4 because this was a Prime eligible item. And I also was able to, if I wanted to wait another day, I would have been able to get it for free second day shipping through Amazon Prime as well. And I have to say, I'm really impressed with it so far. The audio quality is absolutely astounding. It connects seamlessly. It took me like 2 steps. All I did was power it up. That little blue light was flashing. Then I pull up. Let's just pull up here. I pull up my phone. And then I went to Settings, Bluetooth, and my device showed up right on the list. And all I had to do was press connect. Look, it shows my HX, my Motorola upstairs, it still sees it. But the Bluetooth showed up right there. I pressed it, and I was connected. It was a 2-step process. Very painless. I strongly recommend these. These are quite cool. Quite cool what these things can do. So definitely worth the money. $150 price tag. Pricier than your everyday over-the-counter headset, but it is pretty much top of the line. It's not a gimmick. You know what I mean? Usually you're paying a lot of money and you don't really get what you pay for. But I didn't want it to break again in 3 months, so that's why I didn't buy the same one again for $40. I'll go ahead and put that in my pocket. I swear that's what I'm doing, putting it in my pocket. That's exactly what I'm doing. Now let's talk about WordPress. WordPress Basics was the actual today, the subject of today, and we're going to be talking about this book right here. For those of you following the home game, playing the home game, there it is. There's the ISBN number of the O'Reilly book. Strongly recommend you guys pick this up. I'm obviously not teaching you stuff straight out of this book. I'm using the index more as a reference. But this book is absolutely essential to some of you guys who are trying to learn how to do WordPress. You've got to come to the realization that this software is so comprehensive that you'll save yourself a lot of time and headaches by getting yourself a good book. It's called WordPress: The Missing Manual. Check it out. But let's go ahead and bring up my actual 3D mix screen here. We'll talk a little bit here and actually show you how to do some of this stuff, because it's actually very easy to do in WordPress once you've gotten things going. We left last night after creating our own WordPress installation. So I'm going to go to localhost and my first website. I'm going to bring up my website here again that we created last night so I can actually get started on this. Now, when you first get to this WordPress website, you basically are greeted with a standard web page, which isn't really that complicated. You have your title, you have what's called a tagline, and you have a home. These are your pages. They're displayed across the top. These are your posts. They're displayed here in the main body of the actual website. And then on the sidebar, these are your widgets. Okay, so we have 4 elements here, 4 primary elements here. We have your title heading, your heading basically. We have your page area, and we have your posts, and we have your widgets. Okay, those are the basic 4 elements of it. Now this is what's called the front end of your website. This is the part of the website that all of your viewers who are coming to your website get to see. Okay, so you actually get to look at it in real time as you update it and continue to navigate through it. This is one of the most powerful features of WordPress. Traditional coding wasn't that simple, so you can actually now make an edit and see it instantly live on your website. So we need to go to the dashboard. That's the first thing we need to go to. In the top left-hand corner, it says My First Website. I can go to Dashboard. Now, if you're not logged in, this top header won't show up. And you might have to scroll down here to the bottom right-hand corner and choose Site Admin. And Site Admin will let you log in. And you got to use the username and password you use when you actually installed the software. So now we're at the actual dashboard. Now, this dashboard changes somewhat periodically depending on whether or not WordPress has rolled out some major update or something. But they give you this nice little customize your site feature now. They're going through some next steps, which these are all nice additions to the WordPress installation since the new release, and they'll actually help guide you through your WordPress installation. So what they're trying to familiarize you with is something called posts, pages, and themes. Okay, these are the first 3 elements of basic WordPress understanding. And that's why I told you on the first page we're focusing on posts, pages, and widgets is going to be part of your theme. Okay, so let's start with posts. On the left-hand side here, we got this left-hand bar. We can highlight over posts, and you've got all posts, add new posts, categories, and tags. So let's just go to all posts. All posts will show in your frame every post you've written on your website. Now these are usually traditionally blog posts, okay? And so blog posts are essentially something that you write regularly. It's your content. It's the main bread and butter of your website. People who do professional blog hosting typically have a handful of pages, and they have hundreds if not thousands of posts, because the posts are the bread and butter of your website. They're the content, okay? So this is where you're going to go. You're going to go to the post section to write your content for your website. And it can be any kind of content that's related to your topic. So that's the great thing about blogging, is it opens up the world of possibilities with the things that you can talk about and work with. So if I go to Add New, right here on the upper left-hand corner, it will open up a new post editor. Okay, I guess that's the word I should use, an editor. Basically, this is your way of creating a post. Notice that there's nothing in this editor. If I scroll down through it, this is it. It's very basic. It's not very complicated. It looks like Microsoft Word, and this is intentional. This is called a kitchen sink, or just standard, what's the word for it? Trying to remember. Chat room's going to have to remind me. The type of editor this is. It's a visual editor essentially for your text and formatting rather than a code-based editor. So what we'll do here is I can just write my post. So I got to come up with a title. Now this title, this is a rule that a habit you should get into very early on when you're writing a title for your content. Make sure you choose something that somebody would type into a Google search. Because remember, Google will read this article too, and you want them to index it properly. So let's write how to write a blog post. How to write a WordPress blog post. Now what happens here is we have my title, and then we get some link that pops up right here. It's called a permalink. Now this is the permalink that shows up here at the top of my address bar when people visit this site. It's really not a very friendly permalink when it comes to search engines, because it just shows a question mark p equals 4. Okay? This question mark p equals 4 is essentially a bad SEO link. And out of the box, WordPress installs it with these types of links. And this permalink we want to change. That's why they give you this link right here called Change Permalinks, because they're already recommending that you customize your permalinks in some way. So now that we're in the permalink section, I know we're kind of talking about a lot of things here. We're going to go down through here and we're going to choose what we want our links to look like. And rather than do the default, which shows the page number, which is useless, we want a word. We want a word explaining what this is. We're going to use this day and time. No, we don't want time. Let's do month and name. We got, I mean, pretty much all these are good. A lot of people like to do just post name because then that's all that shows up. So let's do date, let's do month and name, okay? So that way it'll show the local host slash your first website slash the year 2013 slash the month 03 slash sample post. So it'll be March 2013 and the name of the post. So that way Google, when it actually scans over your post, will know actually when it was published as well. So then just click Save Changes. Permalink structure updated, says it right here at the top. I'm going to go back to posts, all posts, and notice that it saved my article because I left that page as a draft. That's one of the great things about WordPress, it has autosave. So if for any reason your browser crashes or something else goes wrong, it will actually you'll be able to reload that post immediately after bringing WordPress back up. Great addition to their software. It's something they did quite a while back. But you'll notice here now my permalink has changed. It's actually put these how-to-write-a-wordpress.-blog-post. So it actually took my title and then recreated my permalink. Now this is what we call an SEO friendly or search engine optimization friendly permalink. So we've configured now all of your posts in the future to use this structure. So you shouldn't have to do this more than once. After you've changed your permalink structure, WordPress remembers it. In fact, if you change your permalink structure halfway through writing your blog, WordPress will forward all of your old links automatically for you to the new permalinks. This is just a great software package that handles a lot of these behind-the-scenes headaches in traditional web. In traditional web design, if you changed a web page URL here, everybody from outside the internet, when they go back to that page, if they bookmarked it or if Google indexed it, would get a dead link. But this website, if you change a link for any reason, WordPress will actually automatically redirect the old link to the new one. So it's awesome in that respect. It's very good at handling things like that. So I digress. We're back to writing posts. Writing posts for the internet is very easy to do. Be creative, have fun. This is my first blog post for this website. It is so awesome. So that's good enough. That's all we're going to write in this article because I'm not going to sit here and write a whole article while we're talking. But you can use anything else just like any other editor on the internet. You've got bold, you've got italic, you've got slash through. You can do all kinds of different editing styles. You can put bullet points in there. You can do block quotes. I can say block quote, and I can actually make a block quote. So if I'm quoting an external website, I can do that. I can change the alignment of my text to be centered, right aligned or left aligned. You can insert more, which is kind of like a subheading tag. We can do pretty much anything. Spell check. You got a word counter in the bottom left-hand corner. And then this was the kitchen sink here. This is what I was talking about earlier. It expands to allow you to do other things. You can actually highlight text and change your formatting to different headings and things like that so you can organize your posts better. And you can go in here and change your font colors. You can change your paste from Word, paste from plain text, remove formatting, indenting, and things like that. So pretty much a standard text editor here is available to you for making your posts. You don't have to write a line of code. Now what WordPress does for you in the background is it actually writes the code for you. So I can go from visual to text. And you actually can see, this is called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. You can see the web coding behind the scenes environment here. So for those of you who want to make slight adjustments and revisions to the code, you can bring this up and edit it as well. But for those of us who don't want to mess with that, we can go back to visual and pretty much handle all of our blog posting just this way. Now you can also add media to your posts, such as external images and files. You just click this Add Media button here right below the title, and I can say Insert Media and select a file, and then I can just select a file from my computer. I'll go ahead and select that image. It uploads it instantly to my website. I can put a title here on the right hand side. Of course I recommend doing this. We'll say caption, "This is my awesome photo." Alternate text. This is actually really good for when you highlight your mouse over the image. It's the floating text that appears. So I'll put floating text. And then this is a description that Google understands. Usually you want to describe the image because remember, Google can't read images. Okay? It's just a file to them. So I'll put something like exactly what's in the image. So I'm going to say, since my image is a reference image, I'm going to say now at pcmtechhelp.com/live, okay, which is one part of the things. So I can actually, which is part of my image that I'm describing. I can then align it to the left, center, or right. I can link to a Medium file or an external link or an attachment page for a download, and I can resize it right on the fly. I'm just going to do Medium. I'll say insert into post. And there it is. Shows right up in my post. So there's a lot of really powerful tools here right at your fingertips for writing blog posts. And I'm just creating a post just like it's a Word document. So then I can go up in the right-hand corner and you have this nice little publish box. And here I can change the status. This is draft, which means that nobody can see it right now. I'm drafting it. I can change it to pending review, which is great if you're actually working with other writers. And if you want to publish it, you want to select publish, but looks like it just clicked it for me. Okay, it didn't. Good. I can do a scheduler here and click edit and publish it in the future. So you can actually write 10 posts in one sitting and schedule them out for the month or the year. You can actually schedule them way out in advance. And then really what we want to do first here is preview it. So I can click preview. And before the post even goes live on the WordPress website, we can actually look at what the post looks like on our website. So this is what it will look like. I'm like, all right, great, it looks good. Oh, wait, no, I didn't want that image in the center. So I can close that preview, click on my image, and then align it to the left, and then do another preview, and then I can see exactly what it'll look like again. Like, oh, no, that's not what I want. I can go back and I can change it again. So very powerful tools here. Do you see what I mean? It very much simplifies it. Now, format here is actually dependent on the actual theme you're using. So this actually changes based upon the particular theme that you're using. In this particular case, we're going to ignore it. It's not that essential, but themes have their own customizations. Categories, this is very important. Usually you want to come up with a good categorization of all your posts, because as you get hundreds and hundreds of posts, you run into an issue where you have to reorganize all of them. That happened to me recently on my website. I had 450 posts, and I had to go back and re-engineer my entire category structure. It took me 3 weeks to actually get everything finally recategorized and then relabeled on every single individual post. I had to edit every single one. So I'll just put like tech news. I can put that right here and click add new category right here and here. I'll check that box, and you can have multiple categories per post. You can have subcategories. So I can select this parent category and choose tech news, and I can say WordPress and click add new category. And so I'll get a subcategory for tech news at that point. And that actually allows you to do full hierarchical organization of your posts. So that's not an exact science right now, of course. You just want to kind of go to visit other websites and see how they're doing it, other websites that do similar stuff to you. And then you can kind of gauge and hand write down what you want your categories to be, and then you can just add them all in at once. Lastly, we have the tag section, or second to last, we have the tag section. And tags are essentially keyword phrases you think people might type into Google search when looking for your article. So I'll say my first post, or WordPress blogging, or nobody would ever search for this. And then you got to click add. I just separate them by commas and click add. And then last but not least, you have set featured image. And a featured image is usually what appears on your theme as like a thumbnail or something like that. And it can show up in smaller icons and visualizations and things like that. It's theme dependent, depending on the theme you're working with. But as far as writing blog posts is concerned, this is it. There's really not much more to it. At this point, we just go to preview again to take a look at it. It looks like my featured image adds it right here to the top. See, since I chose featured image, it adds it to the top of my page here. And then if I go down here, my embedded image is still in there as well. So that's kind of cool. So my featured image is going to show up here right at the top. So I'll close that. Yep, that's exactly what I want. I click publish, and it'll actually write it and make it official. It says in the upper left-hand corner, post published. I can click view post. And we have my first website, and here's my official post. Now, if I click up here in the left-hand corner, I bring back to the home page. I'm at the home page, and the home page actually shows my post. It shows the latest post that was published. This is also theme dependent. Sometimes themes don't show the latest post. They show only posts from certain categories or however you've set it up. But this particular theme shows it right there at the home page. So this has essentially created a separate individual post. If you look up here at the website, at localhost, my first website, that's my main website. But if I click on how to write a WordPress blog post, here's my actual physical web page that it created. It's localhost my first website 2013/3 how to write a WordPress blog post. And we've officially created an official post. So that's how writing posts works in WordPress. I know it's not exactly the most riveting subject matter, but it's essential in the WordPress basics tutorial. You have to know how to do posts, because posts are the bread and butter of your system, of your entire website. It's what gets people coming back, is your content. That's what it's all about. Now, if I go back to all posts, which is what I did here, I can actually see it right here, and I can actually do quick edits, and view, and I can play around with it there, or I can just create a new post and start fresh. So that's another great thing about posts. It's just a very easy structure for WordPress. So then we're going to move into pages, okay? If anybody has any questions on posts, go ahead and post them at the community. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to leave you guys a few seconds here, and we're going to go into a little bit here. And if you have any questions about posting, go ahead and post it here right now. And I'm actually going to answer this question here. Somebody said, how much is WordPress? WordPress is free, okay? If you look at my previous website, my previous video, yesterday's video, we talked about WordPress, and it actually allows you to do a full installation right on your computer, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually not even on the internet with the website I'm building. And if you don't want to do that, and you don't want to pay for hosting your WordPress site online, usually you have to pay at least $90 a year or so, you can still make a full WordPress website at WordPress.com. It's just limited in its functionality compared to the free full package. So that down the line, if you end up really finding a passion for WordPress, you can then transfer that WordPress.com website to a full-blown WordPress hosting page. So it's not like once you've chosen one, you can never go back. That's not how it works. So CraftKick also asks, is it possible to host your site on your computer? The answer to that question is yes. I usually don't recommend it because of how cost-effective it is to host a website on a host, and the fact that you have to leave your computer on all the time, and you have to make sure that your firewall is open on port 80, which can also be a security risk. But you have to usually set up your port forwarding on your firewall for port 80, which is your browser protocol, and you have to forward that to your local computer on your website, and then your local computer hosting your website, and then you actually have to go out and be able to access your IP address remotely. So you have to know what your global address is. So I usually just recommend going with some kind of professional WordPress hosting in those cases, because it's for the $7 a month, I think it is, at like Bluehost. It's not worth all the headaches that you're going to have to deal with. So let's go ahead and move on to the actual pages. We talked about posts, and now we're going to move into pages. Pages are what appear at the top here. They're basically the main structure of your site. For example, you have like a contact us page, an about us page, a free downloads page. The big, you got to know what we're doing here, locations of your site, the big categorizations of your site, what you do about your products or services usually are showed up in different pages. And then usually a page would be called blog, and that blog would have all of your blog posts. So if I select sample page here at the top, I can scroll down through here and you just see what's in a basic page. And you'll find something very awesome about this is if I go back up to my dashboard, I can go to pages instead of post and do all pages like we did before. And you can look at it structured the exact same way as the posts. I can click add new and look at that. Wow, it is in fact exactly like the post editor. The only difference is on the right hand side here we have page attributes instead of post categories. Now if I do page attributes, I can actually choose template files, which typically like for example, a template file here would be described by the theme. It's theme dependent for this. This theme supports what's called the default template, which we just saw in that other article. It has a sidebar in the main body of the page. Front page template is a template that looks exactly like the front page of your website, so it has all the content of your front page. And the third option is a full width page with no sidebar. So this other page will be displayed across the full width of the page and remove the sidebar from the side of the page, which is essential for some people. Like, you know what, I don't want people to see anything in the sidebar when they come to this page about my company. I want the full width of the page displaying that information. And so you can choose that instead. So we're going to go ahead and choose that for this template. And then we're going to say full width page. About us. We are awesome. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and highlight that, bold it, and I'm going to put heading 3 on it. I'm going to make it huge. Well, we want to do heading 3. Try it again. No, we'll do heading 2. Okay? It's not changing it. Change it to heading 2. Heading 1. Heading 2. It's not being very friendly to me for the heading information for some reason. And maybe this theme won't let me actually support different headings, which it can happen from time to time. There we go. I did it for the full width page there. So full width page, we are awesome. Basic page idea. And we'll call this About Us, because it's the About Us page. And then, of course, again, we can go in the upper right-hand corner. We can choose Preview. My first website, About Us, full width page. About Us, we are awesome. Okay? I'll go ahead and close that out. And so here we can do, at this point, just publish it. Since it looks like what I wanted it to look like, I can go to View Page. And look at that. Now it shows up at the top. Home, About Us, and Sample Page. So these are the top across the bar ones. And if I go back to my home, notice that that page does not show up on my home page, which we wouldn't want it to. The home page just shows my posts. This shows independent pages right here across the top. Now there are ways to make like drop-down menus and things like this, like sub-pages, and that's done through the menu structure of your first website, which is part of the visualizations or the themes part of the tutorial here. So let me go back to the dashboard, and the last thing I wanted to talk about in the WordPress basics is actually your theme or your appearance of your website. If I go back to Visit Site, on the side here I have all these different widgets. That these are the base widgets that are included in the WordPress website. I can change these into anything that I want. I can customize them completely. All I need to do is I have to go back to my dashboard, go to Appearance, and I can go to Widgets. Now widgets, as you can see, I got a main sidebar widget right here on the side of the page. This is the main sidebar that shows up on the main website. I can use any of these options right here by just dragging them over and dropping them right in there. And then I can title it My Meta and save it. And that will actually instantly update the sidebar. If I don't want an element, I can just press delete. So let's say I don't want to display the archives. Delete that one. I'll do the drop down. I don't want to display the search. I can delete that. I don't want to display recent comments. I just want to, and I can move categories or move any of them up and down. I'll move it up to the top. And then I can go to, actually I don't even have to save it at this point. Actually, I can go and view the website. I can go right up to Visit Website, and look, on the right-hand side, it's all changed instantly for me. And so you can actually structure your website very quickly and easily with widgets. Now this is the main sidebar. If you look at first front page widget area, it tells you in this description. It appears when using the optional front page template with a page set to static front page. And the second front page widget area is for when using the optional front page template with a page set as a static front page. So there's 2 optional widget areas you can use as well. But for the most part, for this theme, we'll use this. These sidebars will change. These widgeting areas will change depending on the theme that you're using as well. But we can do all kinds of different things like adding archives, add a calendar. Let's add a calendar over here. My calendar. Let's just click save. And let's go back to my website. And see, it adds a calendar there instantly with links to the posts for those days that were on that calendar. So those are widgets in a nutshell. Just drag and drop. If you want to just add some plain text, you can just drag this right over here, one called text. You can say, hello world. And you can actually add HTML code in here as well for those of you who are coders. I can go back and visit the site. And there it is. Hello world right there. So there's all kinds of, no, here it is, my text. Hello world right there. So there's all kinds of powerful things you can do with the widgets as far as organizing your information and things like that. And last but not least, we're going to go to themes. And themes are essentially a way to completely revamp the layout. It's the most exciting thing about WordPress, in my opinion. You can actually completely change the way your website looks and feels just by installing a new theme on it and just activating it. I can go right now to, for example, the current theme is 2012. This is under Appearance and Themes, by the way. Let's say I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this theme. I don't like how it looks. I can go down here, and there's another one right here called 2011. And I can say, you know what? Live preview that. It'll show me what my site will look like. Notice it's got all the same stuff that I just did, only it's laid out completely different based on a different theme. Let's say I don't even like that theme. Okay, let's go to Install Themes. and we can actually do a search on the internet right within WordPress for different themes. I'll just leave it blank and click search. And I can go through here. Look at this, is amazing. This is an amazing tool. I can go through here and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this one. I'll click preview. And it shows me what the theme's going to look like. And I'm like, you know what? I like this one. I'll click install. So it downloads the theme from the internet. It's installing the theme now. And then I can do live preview so I can see exactly how my page is going to look in it. Oh. Looks like they disabled the previews on this particular theme. Let's just do activate then. Let's not even do the preview. Some themes will deactivate it. So I've just actually completely activated it. So let me go back to my website. Looks like this theme comes with a whole bunch of different features too, which a lot of themes do. And look at that. It's completely different, completely revised, completely different layout, but it still has my posts. It still has my information. It still has my sidebars. It still has all the content. And I completely changed the way my theme looks and feels. It's amazingly powerful, WordPress is. And this should really kind of, for those of you who are intimidated about web design, did you see me write one line of code? Did I do anything in this tutorial that really made you say, wow, this is too hard? I mean, it's amazing how powerful this tool is. I cannot emphasize it enough. If I could stand on a soapbox or stand on the building top of the world and say, use WordPress, I would. I'm not kidding. It's absolutely incredible software. And it's one of the coolest, most fun experiences you'll have building a website. So here we are at the tail end of the show. And I decided that at the end of the show, every episode, that was the WordPress Basics tutorial, we are going to actually go into question and answer with you guys, my wonderful, wonderful followers and subscribers and the ones watching the live show. Now, don't forget, all the shows go live at YouTube at pcmtechhelp.com/YouTube the next hour, actually, after the show is broadcasted. So you can go back and watch it, leave comments, thumb it up. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll keep your feed updated. And remember, the live shows aren't going to be all that we do here, okay? The reason I haven't done any content outside the live shows is because I've been trying to get the live show going. But we're kind of finally hitting a momentum here with the show. And I kind of feel like I can free up some time and actually do some content outside of the show as well. So I'm kind of excited about doing that. Some high production content with the cameraman of mine. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube. There's going to be a lot of good stuff coming out of there as well. And don't forget to check out the website, pcmtechhelp.com. So let's get to your questions now. Let's see what we have going on. I'm going to go down through here, and they don't have to be WordPress, but I'm going to go down through here and see the last question. We did talk about hosting your site on your computer earlier already. In and Outland said, so what are we doing? We were doing installing WordPress. WordPress Basics, essentially. Actually, yesterday was installing WordPress. Today was WordPress Basics, and we covered widgets, we covered themes, we covered posts, and we covered pages, which is actually a lot of information for WordPress. There's just a lot to it, and there's a lot more to it. I couldn't possibly cover it in a 1-hour segment. Viper says, questions. We have 15 minutes. All right, let's shoot into questions. Ask any questions you want. It's PCM Tech Talk Live, so as long as it's tech-related, your questions are welcome. And if there's no questions, that's quite fine. We'll move on, and we'll close out the show, which is fine. We'll do what we do. Some shows will have more questions than others. In and Outland says, what's the best IRC client for Windows that's not XChat? I used XChat for quite some time. Actually, I kind of liked XChat. One I really liked outside of XChat, though, was called IceChat. I think it was called IceChat. Let me look it up here just to make sure. I want to make sure I'm not giving you bad information. IceChat. Yeah, it is. IceChat IRC client. I liked IceChat because it was cool. It was like just a really cool way to customize your chatting experience on IRC. Now, for those of you who don't know what IRC is it's still floating around out there. It's called Internet Relay Chat. It's a protocol for chat rooms, and it's been around for quite some time. Personally, I've used it quite a lot. Actually, earlier on in my show development, a lot of information a lot of the original tutorials and teaching I was doing was through an IRC. I was actually part of a Freenode, one of the Freenode networks, and I was actually doing tech support for people on the Freenode networks. Then I actually segued into Experts Exchange. I did that for quite a while. And then I started actually contemplating and building my own website with support techniques as well. So I've always been kind of into the helping people out with their questions. And IRC was one of those platforms. You can really find a lot of really sharp people in those IRC chat rooms. Just to get started with an IRC, usually you want to do download a client, like he's saying. You can download XChat, which is one of the most popular ones. I was recommending IceChat. I liked IceChat. I thought it was pretty cool. Really, at that point, you just Google IRC chat rooms, IRC chat links, and you will connect to it right through your client. You'll put in a URL. It'll be like irc.freenode.net or something like that, and it'll connect to it, and then you just pick chat rooms. Choose a handle and pick chat rooms. That's basically how it works. So it's quite cool. CraftKick says, I'm planning on doing some gameplay streams, so can you explain what bandwidth has to do with it? Since I hear you talk about bandwidth all the time. Bandwidth is interesting. Bandwidth is essentially your up and downstream. Okay, it comes in two forms. You have outgoing and incoming, up and downstream. And what these are is they are the amount of data you can possibly transfer at your location at any given time. All bandwidth has limitations, okay? If you are sitting at a computer connected to your internet, you can test your bandwidth easily by going to a website called speedtest.net. Let me go ahead and pull up my screen here again. I'll show you real quick what mine is. And it's going to be really bad because I'm actually streaming live right now, but that's going to be a perfect example of what we're seeing here, what we're talking about here. Is if I go to, let's just go to, here's IceChat, by the way, speedtest.net. It'll bring up a test utility, okay? And you don't have to download anything. That's the nice thing about this site. It'll let me actually do a full speed test that'll actually test my downstream first, then it'll test my upstream. And you may see my internet chop out as it tries to do the test as well. See, it's actually already having trouble because right now I'm basically streaming live full HD. Okay, so I'll click Begin Test right here on the page, and it'll look for a local server to test at, and then it goes out and it pings, test your ping, which is how quickly you get a response from a remote machine. My downstream is at 15 megabytes or megabits per second, which is actually pretty substantial for streaming live right now. I'm probably chopping out quite a bit because of it. And then I've got an upload speed connection, and that's going to bounce all over the place, and I'm sure I'll lose all my frames now too doing this. And once that's complete, I'm going to have to, please be complete because I want my frames to come back. Once that's complete, you can take a look at what your stream tests are. Now, if you're planning on streaming in full HD, make sure you have at least 15 megabits, at least, because HD is very resource intensive. And we're talking streaming live. That's kind of a very scary thing to first go into is going out and buying all the equipment and realizing you have no bandwidth. So check and make sure you're getting adequate bandwidth. You should have at least 10 meg if you're going to stream HD. If you're not going to stream HD, you should probably go with 6 meg. But you want to call up your local internet service provider if you don't have enough, and you want to check with them how you can get more. Some of them will have upgrade packages available, others will not. You may have to go find a different internet service provider in your area if they do not have that adequate bandwidth that you need for doing actual live streaming. Now, live streaming is different than doing like a record and upload, because when you just upload a video to YouTube, it may take a couple hours, but once it's uploaded to YouTube, you're not streaming it from your computer, so at that point your network doesn't matter. How much downstream and upstream you have is irrelevant. It really only matters when you're looking at something about creating a situation where you're streaming live physically from your machine at any given time for extended periods of time. That's actually an excellent question. So, keep asking excellent questions. I like excellent questions. Let's see what we got here next. I'm finished with Batch, so I'm moving on to C++. Goodbye, Batch. C++ is a great language, but if you really want to get involved in a real powerful and popular language, you should really check out mobile programming in general for Android or Apple SDKs. They're real hot right now, and they're built off of packaging, object-oriented framework, and you're going to accomplish a lot more as an individual. Unless you're actually deciding to do C++ professionally or becoming a professional programmer, I usually tell people to shy away from C++. Now, I'm not saying that C++ doesn't have its applications. Of course, it's still used heavily in a lot of applications. But object-oriented languages are a lot more powerful and easier to use. And you can create a lot more powerful software with them as an individual. So that might be something you want to look into when you're considering choosing a language. But it's a procedural language, so you'll learn a lot of really good things about arrays and pointers and things like that you won't from others. So, Teddy Puglisi says, anyone up for helping somebody? Of course, Teddy. That's why we're here. That's what Viper said too. If you can help at least. So Craig told me he used Bluehost and bought his theme from Press75. So last night I bought a theme from Press75 and I got HostGator for my website. Good choices all around. Please look at my Decrapifier code. Oh, sorry, this is somebody else. Teddy says, how the heck do I edit the theme from Press75 to make it look like an actual theme? Now, you need to read the theme documentation. That's the first thing you want to do if you go out and buy a professional theme. These themes are so well done that there's a lot to them. A lot of features, a lot of powerful tools, a lot of options that are available. Make sure you've downloaded the documentation for the Press75 theme that you decided to get. I'm curious which one you got. Go ahead and post it there. That's where I got my theme at. I really like Press75. But you need to go into, if you want to do some code editing, that's when it's going to get kind of scary. If you watch the earlier part of this video, I did show you how to do widget editing and things like that, changing your widgets around. But there's usually something also called, let me pull this up, theme options. Let me pull this up here. Let me go back to my dashboard. If I go to appearance, for the Press75 theme, I know it's there. For this, it's not. They'll have, under appearance, they'll have something called theme options, which actually lets you customize the theme in a lot of ways as well. So that's one of the first things you want to look at when you're customizing your Press75 theme, or any theme for that matter. If you go to widgets, that'll allow you to actually customize the widgets on your sidebars. There'll probably be different options for different parts of your page. If you go to menus, you'll be able to customize your menus up at the top, your top bar navigation. We didn't really talk about in the basics today. If you go to editor, that's where things get advanced. This is where you can actually go in and edit your theme's code. Now, before you decide to do this, make sure you have a backup copy of your theme. If you went with HostGator, I'm sure they have a backup you can do. It's probably free. Bluehost had one as well, where you could actually back up your hosting locally on their service, and then you can go in here and break something. And then if you break something, you can do an instant restore. Don't know how to do it through HostGator? Pick up the phone and call them. Their support's fantastic. Ask them how to do that specifically. But you got to look at your theme documentation, because every theme is different. They're not the same. So that's one of the big things you want to do. Also, make sure you pick up the book. This is the book we're talking about. Pick up this book, because a lot of the Press75 stuff and the visualization stuff is heavily dependent on you using WordPress properly as well. So those are very important things you got to consider as well while you're doing this whole WordPress venture. But I'm excited for you. There's a lot to it. Make sure you come to the community page and you subscribe there and post questions as you run into issues, and I'll do my best to help you out. But if you're going to do a theme-specific question, make sure people can get access to the documentation to help you out, because otherwise they're going to be fumbling around wondering how your theme does it. So, excellent question, Teddy. I'm excited for you. I really hope it works out for you, and I hope it's... hang on one second. Livestream just yelled at me. And I'm really hoping it works out for you. I hope it really broadens your horizons as far as my frames per second dropped down to 3. That's not good. Let's check this out. Let me make sure something here. Let me make sure something's going on upstairs that isn't using up my bandwidth, because my frames actually just dropped down to 3.71 per second, which isn't good. So I'm going to close this stuff out here, because I don't want to close out tonight's show with really bad frame rate. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Hey, it looks like it may just be a fluke, because it's actually going back up and my bandwidth is going back up. You know what that is? That means Comcast was probably having some issues. So let's go ahead and go back into this. And Craft Kick was asking me, what do you think about the new YouTube layout? I love it. I know a lot of people hate it, but the reason I love it is because it's segueing into the Google+, where my community page is, by the way, pcmtechhelp.com/community. We have reached the tail end of our show. Sadly, we are at 10 p.m. sharp, and we are finally moving into Thursday, which is the last episode of the week. I'm going to be going on vacation next week, just as a heads up so you guys know. So make sure you stay by the community because that's where I'm going to be hanging out. Also, make sure you subscribe on YouTube because any content I produce while I'm gone will be there. And I'm going to do some fun stuff, I think, while I'm on vacation. We'll come up with some very clever ways to make things happen there. So, as always, I really appreciate you guys coming out. And don't forget to tune in again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern to PCM Tech Talk Live, where we talk everything tech in a fun, welcoming environment. And I hope today's episode was adequate for your needs. And I'll see you guys at the community page. Have a wonderful evening and good night.